Well, Fridays are usually the most boring days starting the week. However, as you all know, I mentioned time and time again that I'm going to catch up with MARIGOLD's tournament, the Dream Star Grand Prix. Now, I already did the opening round, day 2, day 3, and day 4. However, we're going to continue with that with day 5, 6, and 7. So it's going to be interesting how things are progressed on this particular event. And of course, as always, we will cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping, let's get cracking. So, as I mentioned, it's all about MARIGOLD. So let's begin with day 5 of the Dream Star Grand Prix. Okay, day 5 of the Dream Star Grand Prix by MARIGOLD. This happened on the 16th of August in Ichikawa City, Bunko Hall. Now, I think this is another place in Japan, that it's not Tokyo, in case anybody asks. Now, as always, we have the opening ceremony, of course, of all participants in the Grand Prix, so basically you can picture that. Now, our first match, we have a three-way match. We have Yuka Yamasaki versus Nagisa Tochibana versus Komomo Minami. Now, of course, many of you may know that some of these girls are not yet have the necessary experience they would have in the ring, but we're seeing some progress with each of them in their own way. Now, of course, most likely you can tell that Komomo Minami and Nagisa Tachibana are the most likely has better experience than Yuka Yamazaki, which of course played out pretty well. But in the end, of course, it was Komomo who picked up the win by pinfall onto Yuka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have the members of Darkness Revolution, consisting of Rhea Seto, Chiaki, and Mitsa Matsui, taking on Minami Yuki, Kizuna Tanaka, and Chika Goto. Now, of course, when it comes to Darkness Revolution, Much like, hey, they like to soften their opponents up much as possible, just enough time for them to pick up the win, and that's exactly what they're doing. But of course, there have been some animosity between both Mitsa Matsui and Shigegoto, so that we've been seeing that kind of frustration. But however, in the end, it was Mitsa Matsui that picked up the win with. I'm not sure if what I thought I saw was the Star Crusher that she applied on Minami Yuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have Megaton, Hummingbird, and Nao Ishikawa teaming up. They take on Shino, Victoria Yuzuki, and of course, our current Superfly champion, Mayu Iwatani, the Icon. So, of course, many of you would think in some capacity that this match will go in favor of Mayu Iwatani and her team due to the fact the Icon's involved. But I was a bit surprised how this match ended. It was, in fact, Shino that picked up the win by applying a single leg crab hold. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect her to win, because if many of you know this, she's also a rookie in MARIGOLD. And don't forget, she's a second generation wrestler. And that's how she won. So she used a submission onto Megaton, and just like that, it was over. Now, we have our match for the Dream Star Grand Prix of the Star League. We have Nagisa Nozaki versus Mirai. Now, of course, these two ladies are no strangers from each other when it comes to wrestling. Of course, if you guys recall, Mirai, along with her tag partner and friend, what's his name? Mai Sakurai, lost the tag belts to Nagisa Nozaki and Chiaki, which kind of plays out in a way where, of course, Mirai will love nothing more to get payback for it. But when it comes to Nagisa Nozaki, as a member of Darkness Revolution, you all know she'll try to play dirty, and that's exactly what she was doing. But in the end, of course, her dirty tactics kind of played out in some capacity. Apparently, this match ended in countout after 11 minutes and 11 seconds. This was a huge disappointing loss for Mirai, of course, because she had to play right in the hands of Nagisa Nozaki no matter what. And just like that, it was completely over. Now this left, of course, Nagisa Nozaki with total points of 6, Mirai with 3. Now our next match involving the Grand Prix, of course, we have the Dream League, consistent of Seri Yamaoka and Utami Ayashida. Now, many people can say that Utami Ayashida is the most likely winner. Now, you got to remember about Seri Yamaoka. She has been sensational from day one. Not to mention she picked up hell of a wins from her start, because I think many people would have assumed she would have just eventually lose her matches regardless. But she's been picking up great. Not to mention she had a great mentor, someone who looked out for her, and that is, of course, Nana Takahashi. But now Seri Yamaoka is continuing her legacy by doing her passion vibe onto everyone. But unfortunately, that did not go well for her, because she ended up losing to Utami Ayashida when she applied the hijack bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Utami Ayashida received her next 2 points with a total of 6, leaving Seri Yamaoka with a total points of 4. Now our main event, we have Kyuki Omori and Miku Anu taking on a very interesting combined team up, and that is Mayu Yuhiki and Mai Sakurai. Now, before you ask me, why do I say it's a combined team up? A combined team. It's simple. For those who know this, Mayu Yuhiki has accused Rossi Ogawa in the past that he was a poacher. When Mayu Yuhiki ended up being in a match against Julia for the red belt back in 2023, I believe, Mayu Yuhiki accused Rossi, saying that Rossi was, of course, poaching talent from Ice Ribbon, which was the promotion she was in. Rossi denied that he ever was poaching any girls there. And of course, Mayu Yuhiki has always felt that Rossi's been taking talent so he can make himself look good, that sort of thing. But it's interesting that she showed up here, because I would have assumed that she didn't want nothing to do with it. And not to mention, I didn't think that she'll team up with Mai Sakurai, because she is close to Julia. If you guys know the history about Mayu Yuhiki and Julia, then you would understand. For those who don't know, Julia and Mayu Yuhiki were never good friends. Apparently there's been some frictions between those two behind the scenes. But nonetheless, the match was pretty good. Not to mention, they got very well teamwork in this one, despite the fact they were a makeshift. But in the end, it was in fact Mai Sakurai with a somewhat of a running power bomb onto Kyoki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So that's pretty much it. What happened in day 5, but nonetheless, the main event with Mayuki and Mai Sakurai, very interesting. So let's see how things will progress. Now let's move on. Of course, continuing with more of the Dream Star Grand Prix with day 6. Okay, we continue with more with MARIGOLD with the Dream Star Grand Prix. We are now doing day 6. Now, this happened on the 17th of August in the Shibuya Sports Center, which is in Tokyo, in case anybody would ask. Now, of course, we had the opening ceremony, of the entire show, introducing the participants of the Grand Prix, so I don't need to explain that much at all. Now, our first match, we have a tag team match. We have Nagisa Tachibana and Yuka Yamasaki. They take on Hummingbird and now Ishikawa. Now, of course, there were moments we have seen Yuka Yamazaki, which I have failed to allude, that I alluded, where Yamazaki likes to mess around with Hummingbird's feathers on her mask. And she did that on not one, but 2 or 3 occasions, depending how it goes. But Hummingbird was able to pick up the win on Tachibana, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Yamazaki was not taking this very likely after losing it, and then Hummingbird put her in an arm bar, and same thing with Tachibana. Now Chikawa's trying to tell her, calm down, calm down, calm down, and then she put her in an arm bar. I'm like, I get that you don't like being, that you don't like to be confronted, but she realized that she was losing her temper. But yes, that's exactly what happened. Now we jump in with the Dream League of the Grand Prix. We have Rhea Seto versus Maria. So basically, you have 2 heels in the same room, but here's the differential here. Rhea Seto has maybe 2 to 3 years of experience, while Maria has more experience than her. So you probably can guess that, but she does have some great techniques. Not to mention, she knows exactly what she's doing. But she was able to put Rhea Seto in a submission and force her to tap out, and giving her her next 2 points with the total points of 4, while leaving Rhea Seto at the bottom with 0. Now we jump in with the next match. We have Darkness Revolution, Mita Matsui and Chiaki. They take on Megaton and Miku Anu. Now, of course, it's no secret that, of course, Chiaki and Mita Matsui have disliked, of course, Miku Anu, but the one person they can't stand is Megaton, who, as many of you know, she was a member of Darkness Revolution, losing all her matches because of that. And of course, she was the one who had to pay the price when Mita Matsui put her in a crossface, and just like that, Megaton had no choice but to tap out. Our next match, we have Minami Yuki, Chika Goto. They take on Kyuki Amari and Mirai. It was a pretty good match, not to mention those who know that we have seen both Kyuki and Chika Goto. They have faced off each other before, despite of them being tag team partners, which is something we have seen too many times. But in the end, it was Kyuki who was able to pick up the win when she pinned Minami Yuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match is part of the Grand Prix. We have the Star League. We have Kizuna Tanaka versus Mai Sakurai. Now, of course, these 2 ladies had confronted each other on some occasions. One, as when Mai Sakurai along with Mirai were tag team champions, they faced off, of course, with Kizuna Tanaka and Victoria Yuzuki for the tag belts, but they lost. But now the differential is changed. Now this is a singles bout. But of course, Kizuna Tanaka, we know she can hold her own, but you cannot deny the experience and the growth of Mai Sakurai as she's developed over the years. She was able to pick up the win by applying, I don't know what to call it, but it's the move that Evil does it. The Everything is Evil. I don't know how she would call it, but that's exactly what she did. She picked up that win, and she got her next 2 points with the total points of 6, leaving Kizuna Tanaka with the total points of 0. Now, our main event, we have a 6-woman tag match. We have Shino, Sari Yamaoka, and Mayu Iwatani taking on Komomo Minami, Victoria Uzuki, and Utami Ishida. So, of course, you can tell we have 2 champions on the opposite side of each other. The Superfly champion and the MARIGOLD World champion. And, of course, interesting enough that Victoria Uzuki, who admires Mayu, is now on the opposite side of her. So that kind of plays out pretty well. But in the end, it was Mayu who picked up the win by applying the Dragon Suplex on Komomo. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So, Miyu Iwatani, Sari Yamaoka, and of course Shino picked up the win. So, that pretty much what happened on day 6 of Marigold. So, let's move on right now with our last review revolving Marigold, and it's day 7. Okay, final review. We continue with more with Marigold with day 7 of the Dream Star Grand Prix. And this took place on the 22nd of August at the Sunport Arakawa, which is in Tokyo. We had Chika Goto coming out for a promo. I don't know what's the significance of it. There was no translation, and there was another person that came on the ring for something else. But I have no entirely true clue what it was all about. But of course, we jump in with the opening ceremony of the Grand Prix, introducing all participants, which I don't need to explain much about myself on that one. But yeah, that's how it's opened up. Now, our first match, we opened up with Nagisa Tachibana versus Nao Ishikawa. Now, of course, many of you, when I mentioned the names, you all know that Nagisa Tachibana is growing significantly. She's still a rookie in that way. Now Ishikawa already has the basis necessary, as you know, knowing what she needs to do. But of course, we all know from the very beginning she was on a losing streak. But we would have assumed that she would have picked up the win because she was facing someone who has lesser experience than her. But out of nowhere, I did not anticipate this. She defeated her. Tachibana actually defeated her with a Magistral, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match, we have Darkness Revolution. Rhea Seto, Chiaki, and Mitsa Matsui. They take on Megaton, Hummingbird, and Miku Anu. Now, of course, you all know that Megaton is a former member of Darkness Revolution. Most likely will be the one to take on the Fall. And of course, Hummingbird had to deal with these guys. And not to mention, Miku Anu cannot stand the fact of, of Mitsa Matsui and Chiaki being delinquents and that sort of thing. But in the end, just like last time, it was Mitsa Matsui who was able to pick up the victory when she, of course, put Megaton in the sleeper hold. And just like that, she tapped out. It was completely over. Now, our next match, we have Yuki Yamazaki, Komomo Minami, and Mirai. They take on Minami Yuki, Sari Yamaoka, and Masakurai. Now, of course, once again, we see Masakurai and Mirai on the opposite side of each other, diagonally facing off in a 6-woman tag team match. So it was going to be a bit tougher to anticipate how this was going to be. But surprisingly, it was Minami Yuki that was able to pick up the win when she pinned Yuka Yamazaki. So basically, as you all know, between those two, Minami Yuki was able to has a bit more experience than Yuka Yamazaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next 2 matches are part of the Dream Star Grand Prix, and they're both part of the Dream League. Match number 1, we have Chika, Kyoki Omori versus Victoria Yuzuki. So it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. I think some people might have been divided in half on this one. I mean, these two ladies are fantastic. Not to mention, we've seen Kyuki Amari, how great she was when she's not teaming up with Chika Goto. Of course, Victoria Yuzuki, we all know she is the future ace of Marigold, which is something we have seen countless times. But however, it was Kyuki Amari that was able to pick up the victory when she applied the Hammersmith butterfly, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. She gets her next 2 points with the total points of 6, leaving Victoria Yuzuki with the total points of 4. Now, as we continue more with the Dream League on the Dream Star Grand Prix, we have Maria versus Utami Ayashida. Of course, you can tell by the dynamics of this match, the factors of match. Maria, as a heel, she'll do whatever it takes to win. You have Utami Ayashida, who in fact is the current Marigold World Champion, and not to mention the current ace of Marigold, which obviously has been mentioned. She was able to pick up the win when she applied the helicopter bomb or something. I'm not sure, but it was the only way to defeat her, and that's exactly what she did. And she is in the top with 8 points, and of course leaving Maria with 4. So most likely, I would say Utami Shida, there's that possibility she could win, despite that I haven't seen the results of how it ended. So yeah. Now, our main event is a very fantastic one because, as I mentioned, Chika Goto opened up the show with a promo, and this was her moment to shine, but this time she's facing Mayu Iwatani once again. But as you all know, last time they faced off each other was during the Grand Prix tournament match, but this is a non-tournament match in case anybody asks. I have to say it was fantastic, but the one thing that was truly funny, those who've seen Chika Goto, she normally does the giant swing, and Mayu tried to apply that with her. I'm like, I don't know if that would work with Chika Goto because she's a bit more bigger and taller than her, but it failed miserably. But in the end, it was Mayu Iwatani with a moonsault onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. It was completely over. Mayu Iwatani picked up the win, so it was a good moment. So I think it was a lot of fun. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for Marigold. We still got a lot more to go. I think maybe 5 more days of the show. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the whole thing, but we'll see how time will fly as we go. But as of right now, we'll leave things that way. So let's end it. Let's end our episode, of course, with one last thing, and that is, of course, some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So as always, let's begin with upcoming events. Now, as you all know, recently I mentioned about The Crash, which is a local promotion in Tijuana, Mexico, right across from us since I'm from San Diego. Many of you may have heard that Andrade El Idolo is no longer with WWE, but however, if any of you are interested in seeing him, he will be at The Crash next month in Tijuana on October 3rd. So, if you guys want to go see him, anyone from the San Diego area or the Southern California area, go get your tickets right now before they sold out. And then finally, House of Glory has announced that they will be doing a new show in Long Island, New York. Now, keep in mind, folks, their shows are in New York, but they're in a specific area. I think I'm not sure if it's in Manhattan or somewhere else, but yes, that show will take place on November, on the 5th, I believe. Yeah, no, the 15th. So November 15th, House of Glory will be in Long Island. Now, on for some developments here. Tokyo Ocean Pro Wrestling has announced for three new trainees that they announced. His name is Shion, Henry, and Yuki. So they haven't specified their debuts yet. They're just introducing them. So I'm sure we will see them with new names at some point, but we just gotta wait and see. Wrestling legend Masahiro Chono made a very interesting advice for Evil. He tells him, hey, Evil, ditch the House of Torture. You're better off going on your own. I mean, I don't know exactly what Evil would say. I'm sure he's gonna tell him, "Mind your own business, old man." I don't know if he'll take that to heart because, Evil is, good he is, but he always has people that cheat before him. But yeah, I don't know what that's gonna happen. Now, Dave Meltzer recently posted out about, of course, noticing something interesting. For those who know this, there has not been any AEW talent appearing in the Ariel Helwani show, which is that one dude that interviews wrestling. He often had wrestlers from, of course, WWE. I think he had Tony Khan at one time, but no AEW talent were there. And recently we have Tony Khan there. Dave Meltzer pointed this out recently. Let me this is what he said. AEW talent was not allowed on the Ariel Helwani show after Helwani called an interview with Tony Khan the worst of his career, even to the point calling him a snowman. WWE insider term among some of them, but I guess it's been working out with Ricochet and Tony Storm on the show this week, leading to the head-to-head pay-per-view night. So yes, so basically it's like he made of now opening the door more. I don't know how WWE will treat that, but we'll see. Now, Cassie Lee, many of you may remember her as a part of the Iconics, now with the inspiration with Jesse McKay, talks about the creative process with WWE and somewhat battle compared to TNA. Remember, some people say that when it comes to WWE, when it comes to creative, sometimes things don't go according to what you want to do. Like, you want to do this, but they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. And this is what she had to say. Yeah, definitely. And it's one of the reasons I think we have so much fun in TNA. There's just trust. When we are able to cut a promo, or if we're doing backstage segments, they just trust that we know ourselves well enough to deliver the message the way we truly would. I like generally and having the freedom of banter and each of and just be us. We know that that is what our money is. And it was somewhat of a battle at WWE when we was still there. We were like one of the little word would have to be approved and would take an hour to get approved. And it's like you'd go wait outside the office for 6 hours to get in line, change because it really fits us. So what's really been nice with TNA, they trust us. I know W will too. They're just different beasts. They're huge television, and it takes so long to get an answer from. But yeah, we have loved every part of creative aspects of TNA. So yeah, basically they like the creative process been going on in TNA, because it's true. Because we have hear from many people how they said that the creative process, in WWE takes forever. It doesn't get approved, or they just pass it on to someone else. But it makes perfect sense. We also have that thing with AEW. Remember, they do that too, where they allow the wrestlers to do their own creative process, and they have to be approved by Tony Khan, of course. But nothing compared like WWE. So yeah, they feel more that they're happier with TNA with the creative process rather than WWE. So that's pretty much what they mentioned. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, all of you know we have All Out coming out soon. I am so happy we're definitely going to do that. I am fully aware that there is a new Stardom show that just came out. I'm not sure when I'll be able to do that, but I'm looking forward to that. So until then, that's the plan, what we're going to do. So I'll say this, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I'm going to bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.